So, with Sword and Shield announced in a Pokemon Direct coming June 5th, and since Between Generations, Pokemon has the opportunity to shift some rules, mechanics, and effects to hopefully make the game more diverse, balanced, and engaging. So, here are some changes I'd like to see come in Pokemon Generation 8. The first few are on the basic gameplay, the story mode of Pokemon, something everyone experiences. I want the games to be speedrun friendly. I never thought over 20 years after playing Red and Blue I'd enjoy watching or even personally trying to speedrun of the game, but they're a fun way to revisit a game you might have played a ton of. And I would like these games to actually be something I can go back and maybe in 20 years when I'm in 50 years old, I'll want to actually play them again. But the times it takes to get a started in the first games, it's quick and short. You can quickly check their stats and see if they're what you need or if you need to restart. Sun and Moon was terrible for this. Ultra Sun and Moon kind of addressed it, but it's still far slower than the older generations. This also has a nice little benefit. You can, shiny hunt for your starter far easier if you're into that kind of thing. I also want less gifts and more buying of items and catching of Pokemon. The gift Eevee, Lapras, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan were, the only gift Pokemon that impacted your play full through back in Gen 1. And they didn't break the game's difficulty curve like some of the newer ones did. You could also easily just miss them if you're, not paying attention. And the fossil Pokemon existed, but you didn't get them till way, way later. 7th gym, Blaine, so. X and Y had way too many powerful gift Pokemon. You basically skewed the difficulty, and the region felt shallow because you just breezed through it. Also made playthroughs way too similar. You always had your starter. You always had your secondary starter, either Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. You always got a Mega Lucario. And they weren't skippable, so you couldn't accidentally not get them. They're far stronger than their surroundings, so you had to actually opt out of using them, which felt weird. Latios and Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire had the same kind of deal, but it's not too bad. They were the only major gift Pokemon, and although Rayquaza was kind of a gift Pokemon because you're guaranteed to catch it, it was at the end of the Delta episode, which was I felt it was the perfect timing to do something like that. It's a penultimate legendary, followed up by an amazing mythical in Deoxys at the end of a very long campaign. And I tend to forgive these two games because they were just, I think they were the best Pokemon games ever made, in my opinion. Sun and Moon just constantly throws Pokeballs of high quality at you constantly. You beat a challenge, here's 10 Pokeballs. You beat another challenge, here's 10 more Pokeballs. And you never have to worry about your inventory or not having what you need to catch things. You don't have to go to the shops. I've played through 7, 8 times, and I think I've gone to the shops to buy TMs. That's about it. We need to get more nuggets and star pieces and random vendor trash. We don't need endless supplies thrown at us. We need to make our decisions as to what kind of endless supplies we want to buy, and what we want to buy, when we want to buy, how we want to buy. Player choice is very important. And it kind of felt like we've been, with gift Pokemon and lots of items, we're just losing player choice. That being said, I want the Acorn Balls back from the past. Samson Oak only gave one of each of them, and you couldn't buy more. Just defeated diversity. It's nice being able to see a heavy ball or a lure ball or basically anything besides the regular Pokeballs that you're catching things in. And yeah, it'd be nice to also have all the old moves back. Like Gen 1 Metronome TM has not seen a new appearance. I'm not gonna forget what Game Freak did to Metronome. Metronome's one of the greatest greatest moves they've ever put in. It calls anything. How many abilities have I seen purely because I was using Metronome? Their combat effects, just you don't use those abilities normally, but Metronome calls them. And you get to see some amazing things from time to time. I also would like them to keep doing these forms. Totem forms were some of my favorite things they've ever added, and I'll cry if giant-sized Pokemon don't continue. I love giant-sized Pokemon. And they need to give the combat hold items far sooner, if not immediately. How long do I have to wait for Custap Berry in Gen 7? Custap Berry. It shouldn't take that long. It's not that, game breaking to give you a Custap Berry early on. But pushing aside the playthrough, kind of, you have the post game, the competitive, the extended engagement in the series that holds us over for years. We need more tournaments. The monthly PGL tournaments have been great. Keep doing those, but offer more frequent, high-quality prizes. Shiny Tapu Fini will be out sometime before the end of June, but it's possible we might never see a shiny Cosmog in this generation. We need to have greater rewards for placements too. Like, so many of the teams in the competitives are just Route 1 vendor trash Pokemon that I end up fighting. It's just uninteresting matches. Um, just offering some extra battle points or some rare candies or PP Max, gold bottle caps. Maybe they could go as far as having a unique wardrobe for the really high placement people. Kind of flaunt their ability. So the people are just more encouraged to try to win some games. But they still ultimately get the most important prize, which is, the Pokemon, regardless. This way people don't feel too discouraged when they, have bad RNG or just, get smashed. Kind of going a little bit more on the crazy side, I'd love them to have custom tournaments where we get to like pick the prize that we give to the winner or something. Imagine breeding a shiny Sneasel for a Crafty as a Cat tournament prize where only cat-themed Pokemon can enter. And yes, I know Sneasel is a sneaky weasel, but it's my tournament. I do what I want. Choosing the rules and posing is so that people can search for your tournament to participate in, and just having it up so that you can consistently. The people can't always make all the tournaments that they have up. They're on weekends. Some people work. Some people just don't have access to internet at all times. It'd be nice to be able to make your own tournaments, set your dates, get them done, have fun. On that, for competitive things, for actually bringing Pokemon, they need to have the hidden abilities of some of these Pokemon more available, like, sooner in the generation. I mean, the starters for Gen 7 were kind of well placed. It was long enough that the original starters with their abilities Blaze, Overgrowth, and Torrent weren't immediately overshadowed by their new abilities. But Passimian and Oranguru needed theirs sooner. We did not have any time to experiment with them competitively. They came in at a time in which they were competing with Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon and just the Ubers of Ubers. But back to Incineroar. Incineroar got Intimidate, and it was by far the most disappointing one. It's a strong ability. It's arguably the strongest ability in the game, at least for doubles. And of the three, it also was the strongest, but it also didn't fit and accentuate the design of Incineroar very well. See, let's look at Decidueye. Decidueye ended up getting Long Reach, and it's an archer Pokemon, which makes sense. It's shooting arrows from long away. It's pretty good. Primarina is a sexy mermaid, gets us all wet. It got Liquid Voice. Yeah, great. But Incineroar, who is a macho brawler, scares us with Intimidate? Kind of fit, but it was just so lazily slapped on there. I mean, imagine if they gave it an ability called, like, Underdog that increases all damage dealt based on Incineroar's health difference from the target. So if you're at, like, 1% and the target comes in and is fresh, 100%, you have a 99% increased damage against it. That would really make Flare Blitz hit hard, but it's a risk-reward and kind of fits with it as a wrestler Pokemon. It keeps fighting even when it's down. And give it a nice unique ability for once, too. That's really what I feel the starters need. They need to feel unique. They're the ones we're with for the most time during our gameplay. But enough of my crazy ideas. At the more specific things I'd like them to change, Primal Reversion, that they need to be nerfed. Primal Kyogre and Groudon of just showing up. They always show up in VGC, and they're always powerful in VGC, and they tend to drone out other competition. Sure, there needs to be a place where they get used, but because otherwise they would exist to only destroy the Elite Four to farm money with, and that's a terrible reason to have a legendary. But I think Primal Reversion needs to be treated as a Mega Evolution. Take up the Mega slot and require you to actively be on the field to transform. This way you can't just swap them in and out to change weather immediately, and because an encounterable weather is such a powerful effect for consistency, it should really come with a heftier price tag when you build a team. It shouldn't just be a slap on anything and be like, bam, I take everything that is now weak to fire because I have Kyogre. Woo! Or I can now kill everything with fire because I'm Groudon, and woo! I don't know, just feels wrong. But weather, obviously leads into trans and the Tapus. Oy, Tapus. Did anyone even know that terrains were moves in Generation 6? I have a feeling most people didn't see them until the Tapus started hitting the floor in Gen 7. It's hard to say what I really do with them, because this is a kind of can of worms that's going to haunt competitive forever. Their original nerf for weather was to make it not last forever, and weather is still ridiculously strong. I don't really see how they're going to nerf. They're going to be able to nerf terrains without completely either gutting them, such that you never ever ever want to use the ability, like the actual move. But more than likely they'll put them on new Pokemon or something. Maybe some old Pokemon will get them. Kind of like how Torkoal got Drought and Pelipper got Drizzle in Generation 7. So they'll probably distribute them. But I'm gonna hope for more significant changes to make them less less overpowered and more optional. And to tie this all up, the last thing that we really, really need to make all of this worthwhile would be good online functionality. Plaza was bad. I don't want much, just a far better functioning online connection tool. I can find players I'm trying to connect to instead of 30 players named Ash from various parts of the globe. Will I furiously reconnect? And do this, and I can likely forgive anything else I've spoken about. So, but we'll find out on the 5th.